got to tell you, it's got to feel like solitary confinement when your team then hits rock bottom.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
The man your man could smell.
Theo Dorsey is theoretically speaking.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Streaming live on YouTube. Here's Theo Dorsey.
Good people. It's Wednesday on Theoretically Speaking. Happy to be back with you here. Before we get into anything, because we are going to be talking about sports teams that have taken the biggest falls from grace, from the mountaintops to the valleys, and the Miami Hurricanes. Yeah, just get ready. It's coming. Sorry, Canes fans, it's coming. I do want to do one thing. A special thank you to my guy Mike Rizzo, who filled in for me, pinch hit for me yesterday as I was with family, with a bit of a family emergency. Just keep us in your prayers. Keep my wife's families in your prayers, please, if you're praying folk. And I appreciate the team here holding it down. Mike Rizzo pulling up. And again, for a guy that's from Cleveland, an Ohio State fan, and I'm an anti-Buckeyes. Gotta love that dude. Most importantly, because CKatt, he led the show off, giving some love to my guy Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So that's a win in my books. He's good.
I had to call him out for it, too. I know you listened to the show
Yeah.
where I was like, you're fitting in just fine on Theoretically Speaking if this is a pro-Chiefs radio show.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we do, man. I mean, it's pro-Chiefs, the back-to-back champs en route to a three-peat. We probably do talk too much Chiefs for this area, but when they're on top like this, I mean, sue me. But they're on top now. And there's been a lot of franchises in sports that have felt what the Chiefs feel now, where you're the one that's being aimed at. You are the squad that everybody's trying to take down. You are the throne. You are the throne, and everybody's lining up to try to figure out, how do we counter that? How do we understand what they're doing and try and take them down? And then there's the teams that have reached that apex, especially in our lifetimes, and have been since near rock bottom, in the pits, a fall from grace, if you will. And to me, man, it's not being talked about enough right now. I know that we have NFL preseason going on, and I know that football being back on the professional level is big, but we're now just 3 weeks out. We're 3 weeks out from Florida State kicking the college football season off against Georgia Tech in Dublin, Ireland, August 24th, and that means that college football right around the corner. All the preseason polls are out. All of the predictions are being, boistered all over Twitter and all of the Instagrams, and you see this stuff everywhere. And there's one team that's been garnering a lot of hype, and they get hype, it feels like, every summer, every preseason, and then once the fall kicks off, it's straight to the bottom. And that's the Miami Hurricanes. And that's coming from me as a Miami Hurricane fan and a guy that did pick them to win the ACC this year. It feels like, of all of the squads, and from what I remember growing up as a Canes fan and the glory days in the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, when Howard Schnellenberger started really kicking this program into a national contender and winning a national title. But the Miami Hurricanes football program, the brand itself and how people think of it versus what they've been performing like in the past 2 decades, it is a clear example of a complete fall from grace and a fall from what was the pinnacle of college football to mostly obscurity. I mean, CKatt, if I were to ask you, how many conference championships has Miami won in the past 2 decades? What would you say?
With how much we talk about them in the national landscape, I would probably have to say 3 or 4.
And therein lies the problem. And I'm sure you kind of know the gist of it. The Miami hasn't won a conference title since 2003. They've only competed in the conference championship game once in the past 2 decades, and that was 2017 against Clemson. And dare I say, they didn't compete. It was 38-3. It was a blowout. It was miserable, and it was the only time that it felt like in the past 20 years that Miami really did have some kind of a rolling shot at getting back to its national championship glory. We're talking about a Miami Hurricanes franchise, college football program that has 5 national titles to its name, that whenever people talk about the greatest singular college football teams, you have to mention those early 2000 Canes. I mean, the Warren Sapp days of yawning at the line of scrimmage up 50 near halftime. The Andre Johnson big shouts who just got inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame alongside Devin Hester. Like, those guys and what they did in Canes uniforms on those loaded teams juxtaposed to what you see now from Miami, where this is the only time of the year where you're getting awards or real accolades from Miami. Like, Cam Ward, transfer quarterback, he got voted as the preseason ACC Player of the Year. I was one of the people there at ACC kickoff in Charlotte that voted him as such. He's going to be great. Washington State transfer was the biggest fish in the transfer pool waters, and Mario Cristobal was able to bring him to Coral Gables. But for year 3 with the Miami Hurricanes, it feels like all we've been getting for the past few years, especially under the Cristobal service, under his tenure, is, well, preseason awards. And if you ask Cristobal, which I did at ACC kickoff, talking to him about what people say about the current state of the Canes and the program, I mean, he doesn't care about that.
Do predictions and projections and tweets. I do ball.
I do ball, man. He called me at one point in that interview with Mario Cristobal, by the way, who this is my 3rd straight year interviewing him ahead of the season. The first 2 went perfectly fine. This one got a little bit pointed at a certain point. At one point, he hit me with the brother.
Yeah.
Call me brother. And
that's a term of endearment, though, no?
It's supposed to be, but it was the way the infliction in which he called me brother. I can tell there was some angst in it. It felt like a little fiery, a little clap back.
Where can we watch and listen back this interview?
That's going to be on YouTube, at Theo Speaking on YouTube, the same place that you stream this show here on ESPN 106.3. Make sure you subscribe and check out the Mario Cristobal 101 because it was an elite one. But again, it brings me back to this place. The Miami Hurricanes, who are, they play right there at Hard Rock Stadium, and people talk about how the fan interaction and the engagement isn't as great, how the tailgate is deeper sometimes than the crowd there. But they really have a team that is poised to contend. And as a Canes fan through and through, it does feel like, again, you start to feel like you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. This is the year. It's going to finally happen. The Canes got it. You start talking about all the preseason accolades and the outlook, and you start looking at, August 31st in the Swamp. This is as bad as the Florida Gators have looked in the past 10 years or so. That looks like an easy win to pick up in the Swamp, and then you really get your season kick rolling and kick started in the ACC that's wide open. There's so many reasons to be optimistic for the Miami Hurricanes, except for the fact that for the past 20 years, there has been no reason to feel any kind of faith that this team can do something greater than, get their ass kicked in a conference championship game. The Miami Hurricanes are the one sports team that has taken the sharpest fall from grace to me. And there's many candidates out there, but you think Dallas Cowboys and what they were in the 90s and now how they're the joke of the NFL. And you got Stephen A. Smith wearing cowboy hats, yelling howdy and spitting all over that franchise and Jerry Jones. And I think that same thing for Miami Hurricanes fans, especially out here in South Florida. 888-760-3776, 888-760-3776. Which sports team has taken the sharpest fall from grace from the top of the mountaintop? And don't give me any team that's been like middle of the road. Don't give me a team that's maybe won one championship. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a squad that's done something like
the Raptors.
The Raptors or the Portland Trail Blazers or maybe even like the Green Bay Packers or something like, which, again, it's been a little up and down. But give me somebody for real. A team that was at the pinnacle of the sport, at the top of the sport, and is now feeling like they are an afterthought when it comes to championship contenders on a year-by-year basis. Which sports franchise or program has had the biggest fall from grace? 888-760-3776, 888-760-3776. Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide advanced orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County throughout the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. And sure, The Canes have been a bit irrelevant as of late, but CKatt, the team that I believe is going to come off the tip of your tongue, actually probably fits this more than others, especially given the recent news.
We're talking about what I considered America's team no less than 5 years ago. I thought the New England Patriots overtook the Dallas Cowboys under the title America's team because everybody cared about the New England Patriots for the entirety of their dynasty. You loved them or you hated them.
I was about to say, can I push back on that a little bit because I guess I didn't go through the 90s Cowboys run. Today, everybody loves or hates the Cowboys, but I feel like to be America's team, doesn't like the majority of America have to root for you? Most people hated the Patriots dynasty. They're like the evil empire of the NFL.
But they birthed, like the Cowboys, birthed Cowboys families that your dad was a big Cowboys fan when they were at the top of the game, so they raised their kids to be Cowboys fans. Or why is there a Cowboys fan in the middle of Oklahoma? Why is there a Cowboys fan in the middle of Arizona? I don't know. My dad was, so I was raised as one. That's what's going to happen across the entire country with the New England Patriots. It just spreads. Success spreads fandom. The New England Patriots were at the tippy top of the mountain that we have never seen in sports ever before. And now they're a laughingstock. There is no class. There's no grace. That name means nothing. If you were to guess what the odds for the Patriots to win the AFC East, which was a foregone conclusion for about 20 years, what would you guess that is going into 2024? I
think they won like 11 straight under Brady, which is still an NFL record the Chiefs are chasing down right now. Plus, I mean, it's got plus 5. You got to be drunk to make that bet. Plus 5,000.
It is plus 2,500. So it's still the last in the division.
Yeah.
Jets plus 180, Bills plus 180, Dolphins plus 200, and the Patriots are a simple non-factor.
There are 0 scenarios and 0 universes in which this New England Patriots team wins this AFC East. With the Jets, with the Bills, with the Dolphins, you can create all the scenarios in the world for either of those 3 teams to win, and I'm sure their odds are all very similar. But the Pats, and this is not a reflection on Gerard Mayo, it's the roster as well. For a rookie head coach stepping in there right now, starting Dwyer's very own Jacoby Brissett, and maybe turning the ball over to Drake May at some point, or Joe Milton. I heard that there's, the camp sputter is that Joe Milton, Pahokie's very own, could be in the mix for that. There's just no way. And then the Brandon Ayuk news.
Exactly. He was offered reportedly 32 and a half, 33 mil a year and turned it down because, quite simply, he didn't want to be a Patriot.
Oh, my God.
You have that circus going on before our eyes right now. Last week, it was Matthew Judon. Remember the Patriot way? Remember that existed under Bill Belichick?
Yeah.
That's out the window. It doesn't exist anymore. Matthew Judon's going on Twitter and complaining about his contract. And I happen to like Matthew Judon. He was a great Baltimore Raven for many, many years, but he is just running wild, scorched earth on the front office there.
Well, and that's the thing, is there was it was so tight-knit, right? And there was such this like cloak over the Patriots franchise where everybody felt robotic. Winning felt just like second nature to them. And I beg to ask the question, is this Bill Belichick's fault? Not because he did all of the winning in the 6 Super Bowls and the reign over the AFC East and everything, but more so the years after Tom Brady. Because if you keep that same culture up, which I'm sure is conducive to winning, but the results aren't there, and the team is losing, and you're in Foxborough, New England, or Massachusetts, and it also it doesn't feel like a fun place to play. They haven't been winning, and the program has been going down and down. It feels like either you blame this on Mac Jones or Bill Belichick. Who has more to do with the Patriots' fall from grace? Because maybe if Bill Belichick was more fun to play with or play for, loosened up a little bit, maybe the Cam Newton era would have lasted a little longer or something. I don't know. I'm trying to give him some kind of credit.
Is there any responsibility of Bill Belichick to leave the Patriots suited to succeed after he leaves?
Yes.
How long Bill was there?
Yes.
There is responsibility for that organization to not be in shambles when he leaves. You believe there's some?
I believe legacy, especially in sports, which is easier to define, but also mostly in business, legacy should be more defined by what you leave behind. Like what you create there, of course, but also what you leave behind. Like, is it playable? Like LeBron leaves franchises in shambles. And I think that is a notch against LeBron when you do the GOAT talk and everything like that, because when he leaves, he almost, he leaves it in ruins. He leaves it in ruins, and of course the success is because of LeBron, but it would feel a little better if he left something behind that could be sustainable. And Bill Belichick, especially as a coach, for him to leave that behind and for them to look that far behind in their own division, it's a bit of a failure on his part. It's a bit of a failure on his part. Who in sports, which franchise or program has taken the biggest fall from grace in recent history? 888-760-3776. That's the number for the Baptist Health Hotline. We got Steven in Palm Beach Gardens. Steven, you're on Theoretically Speaking on a Wednesday. Who's taking the biggest hit in your lifetime in sports here, Steven?
I would say since Michael Jordan left the Bulls, it's been one of the biggest demise of sports teams.
That's a great call, Steven. I don't know why I didn't think of the Bulls, and it's probably because we don't think of the Bulls these days. Thanks for your call, Steven. Like, that's a huge one. The Bulls everybody wanted to be like Mike. The dynasty was assured. It's funny because you talk to people from Chicago that lived in the area or grew up Bulls fans, and the one constant they tell you is like, when Mike was on the floor in that red and black jersey, and you heard that intro music, and he walked out there and they tipped the ball off, you can go to your kitchen and have a meal. You knew what was about to happen, especially in the playoffs. They were going to win.
You mentioned that intro music, and they used it on Hard Knocks last night, the debut episode for this season with the Bears. I watched it this morning, and of course they used that music in the first half, and it gives you the chills because of how much that organization was revered. Of course, now we understand that it was Michael Jordan. So much why that legacy was there, more so than just the organization as a whole.
You mean Reinsdorf didn't do it?
No, he didn't.
You mean GMs don't win championships?
Not in that case, no. And I think that we're seeing the early effects of a possible Bulls-like fall from grace from the New England Patriots.
Wow. Because honestly, the last time they've been relevant was that peak. They had the small peak with Derrick Rose. You know, they had the Larry Hughes, Derrick Rose, Kirk Heinrich years, Joakim Noah. You had Tom Thibodeau, who's over there doing it with the Knicks. But other than that, well, what has it been for the Bulls?
Exactly.
And what will it be?
Yeah, 2035, we're going to be talking about, remember the Patriots? You're like, why are you a Patriots fan, by the way? Oh, my dad was. And exactly.
It's getting ugly. And you know what? They won so much and they cheated so much that I have no sympathy for Pats fans at all. It's what you get. You got the Lombardis to show for it. On the other side, we're going to pull in Evan Cohen. He is a huge Patriots guy. He's a huge Bill Belichick guy. He's going to hate the way that we just took a little bit of a number 2 all over his current franchise right now. But he does have a new quarterback, and he does have newfound hope because he patted that quarterback on the back and already ruined that relationship. We'll get Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike in here on Theoretically Speaking on the other side. But before we do, I got to tell you about the place where, when you think about championships, like what the Patriots have done and what the, Miami Hurricanes used to do a long, long time ago, back in their heyday. Well, there's a college that is fresh off of just winning championships left and right. In fact, I'll be there for their ring ceremony on Friday night at Kaiser University, the flagship campus of Kaiser University, to celebrate the 2023 NAIA football national champions. The Kaiser Seahawks. They've got 22 national titles to their name as a school, spread across various sports. Golf. You got swimming and diving. You got football. I mean, this is a squad. This is a team, the Seahawks, who have 60-plus conference titles to their name as well. They ran through the Sun Conference. Like we talked about the Patriots and their division in the AFC East, a lot of these teams, it was a shoo-in every single year that they would win the conference and compete for national titles. And, of course, they've got the back-to-back national champions in men's lacrosse. KUSeahawks.com. That's how you lock in with the Kaiser Seahawks and check out the latest on their athletic squads. KUSeahawks.com. On the other side, Evan Cohen pulls up to talk or maybe hopefully defend the Patriots franchise. CKatt says they're in the gutter. They've had the biggest fall from grace. Maybe he gives us some hope that that won't be for long. That's CKatt. I'm Theo Dorsey. It's Theoretically Speaking on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine